Hello again. We're looking today at plugins, the plugins portal. So we're going to go to our site administration tab that we now know very well. We're going to look at the fifth item, the fifth entry, plugins. We're going to click there. And as we can see, there are quite a few different sections. And so this video is probably going to be longer than 5 minutes. Let's try and have a quick look at the sections, the main sections. So we have activity modules, or even before that, we have the plugins, install plugins and plugins overview. And this is very important because this is how, for example, in the previous video, I had to install the one format plugin to be able to see the course with little different tabs horizontally rather than just weekly parts. So for example, here in my learning spaces, I needed two. If we go to my course, I had to install the one topic format so that it can be seen like this horizontally, because before it was just vertically in weekly sections. Okay, so definitely a very, very important section of our Moodle, the plugins section. Let's look at the plugins. So we have install plugins, and basically what we do and see when we click on plugins, install plugin, is this section where all we have to do is just drag and drop the plugin that we need. In this case, I had to install the one topic format, and all I did was download it and then drag it here and then just click continue and basically click all the way through until it was installed. If we go back to the plugins, then we have plugins overview. We can see basically all the plugins that we have right now installed in our Moodle. And we can see here an overview of all the plugins. So we have activity modules, we have assignment plugin, and it is enabled. We can also see the settings and uninstall it, and we can see which ones are enabled or disabled. We have the blue button disabled, book, choice, database, feedback, okay, is disabled for feedback, folder, forum, glossary, H5P, IMS content package, then we have text and media area, lesson, external tool, page, question bank, quiz, files, SCORM package. All of these are plugins, but also activities. So important to remember that because we can see them under activities. Then subsection, URL, wiki, workshop. Then we have assignments, submission plugins, submission comments, file submissions, online text submissions. They're all enabled. Then we have assignment and feedback plugins, very important. And they're also enabled. Annotate PDF, file feedback, offline, grading worksheet. Then we have others where there are no plugins in this activity. So if we wanted the big blue button activity extensions, we would have to find them and probably in the GitHub and then download them and install them. For books, same thing, book tools. So we have book IMS CP export, chapter or printing. So for database, then we have checkboxes, date, file, coordinates, drop-down list, multi-select list, number, image, radio, buttons, short text, text area, and URL, database presets, imagery, image gallery, journal, proposals, and resources, forum reports or forum summary reports, external tools, no plugins of this activity, of this type are installed. Then external tool, LTI services like basic outcome service and all these different LTI services. Then quiz reports, manual grading, grades, responses, and statistics. It is interesting to note that it can be uninstalled, but I cannot see whether it is enabled or the settings. So I think that this is something I need to find out with using the GPT Moodle admin with AI to try and understand 100% why the option of being uninstalled is there, but not whether it is enabled or the settings. Same thing for quiz and report. So for example, in this section, there's nothing, while here again with quiz and reports, we could uninstall them. So let's see what happens if we click on uninstall. We need to confirm the manual grading. So I'm just going to say cancel. So I think they're there, but for some reason, the settings or enable or disable options are not showing. Then we have also the SCORM package report section. I believe that it could be because they're part of the package when you install the MAMP, but they are not modifiable unless we want to uninstall them completely. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Then we have workshop grading strategies, nothing here, neither uninstalling them or any other options. Workshop submissions, allocation methods, different blocks. So for example, here now we can see that it is enabled and we see the settings and again, possibilities. So accessibility review, activities, activity results, admin bookmarks, latest batches. So that's good because that's the section, if you remember, is the section on the right is the block where we can see all the different things that we enable to try and show some sort of engagement with the participants. So blog menu, recent blog entries, blog tags, calendar, upcoming events, comments, course completion status, courses, course site summary, feedback, global search, and all the different options. If we keep on scrolling down, then question types, if we're creating a quiz, for example, and drag and drop, they're all enabled. Multiple choice, numerical, ordering, random. This is definitely, we want to create different quizzes and the different types of questions. Then we have question bank plugins. They're all in there. So I'm just going to go back up all the way to the top and then go back to plugins and see the activity modules, which I think are the ones that are going to be most needed for us when we start creating the Moodle and creating courses and designing them. We have manage activities, common activity settings, assignment settings, so very important here. Submission plugins, if we're going to ask candidates, participants to complete assignments. Feedback plugins, how are we going to allow comments, annotate PDFs, file feedback. So all of these are going to have to do with that kind of work under assignments. If we're going to have a book, a database, external tools, so manage tools, file, folder, forum, glossary, very important for our course. H5P, we know how to create them and are going to be adding them. Lesson pages, then we have quiz, plugins, general settings, statistics reports, save, exam browser templates, and all the different sections related to quizzes. Then we have admin tools. And for example, here we have accessibility, very important. So brick field registration, accessibility toolkit settings, reports, multi-factor authentication, which is important for security. If we look at the manage admin tools, then we have the version and whether we want to uninstall it or not. We have acceptance testing. And just by browsing down the list, we can see different important plugins. So import competency framework, which we saw in a previous video, very good. So the plugin is there. Language customization, which we've been dealing with in the previous tabs. So that's good. MoodleNet and all the other ones. Now, if we go back, then we can move on to antivirus plugins. So if there are any that we're using, in this case, it says that it's getting the results. So no antivirus scanners are currently enabled. So we can manage antivirus plugins, get one, and then install it if necessary. And then common antivirus settings like antivirus alert, notification email. So that would probably be the email of the admin person, in this case me, so that if it is detected, then we receive an email and we're told enable quarantine at the moment, no, and quarantine 4 weeks. And any changes that we have made, then we would have to save them. If we go back to the plugins, then we can see blocks, very important, because I guess manage blocks would be one of the main plugins because it is how we are designing the course and designing the 3 main blocks on the left, the roadmap, in the middle, where we have all the content in the different tabs, and then on the right, where we add all the different engagement tools like a calendar, announcements, badges, progress, tracker, and the like. Then we have different options here: course overview, courses, text, YouTube. So for example, if we want to make sure that it works, then we would need, I guess, an API key. And we could get one from Google. And then if we add it there, then save changes, but by default, it is empty. Now, if we keep going down, then we have caching. And this means basically all the information that a computer stores so that when the same page or information is needed, there's like a sort of a copy there, and it quickly brings it up. And it has pros and cons because obviously it depends on storage, and it can sometimes, as I understand, slow down the computer or the page loading up. Then we have configuration, test performance, cache usage, for example, configuration here on this MUMP. Now, if we keep going down, then we have content bank, so manage content types, content bank custom fields. If we look at manage content types, and so far we only have H5P, so I imagine that that is one of the plugins that would be useful, and the others are basically available under activities, I think. If we look at course formats, so here, custom manage one topic format. This plugin is the one that I installed yesterday after following the steps, because I could only see them by weeks, as I mentioned earlier. So that's useful. So manage course formats, definitely a useful place to look at and to be aware of. So custom sections, weekly sections. That's what the only thing I could see before was weekly sections, single activity, and social. And one topic format is the one that I installed manually, but it was very easy to do. Then we have custom fields, and we're almost there. So finally, we have then data formats. If we want to manage the data formats, document converters, enrollments, this would be important as a section because we have to provide guest access, but we don't want anyone to just enter our courses. We could probably have just provide guest access to the main page to see if people are interested, and that may lead to them enrolling onto the courses, but we definitely don't want to give full access to guests. Manual enrollments, self-enrollment, so the ones that we have seen on the course, basically on the main page. Filters, manage filters, common filters, display H5P, generico, very important here. So we have the general setting, can see generico here. Then local plugins, if we want to look at them, logging, so manage log stores, standard log, machine learning backend settings. Okay, this is beyond my knowledge. I would have to look at it. Python machine learning backend. Media players important, video.js player, YouTube. Okay, so they are there. That's important. Payment gateways would be very important because obviously if we get our Moodle up and running and we are selling our courses, then we would need to set up PayPal and also make sure that we know how to manage payment gateways. Question bank plugins as well, question behaviors, question types. We saw this before when we saw the overview of plugins. So the overview was like all of them listed. Here we have them under different categories: reports, repositories, embedded files, private files, recent files, servers, upload a file, URL downloader, then search, manage global search areas, SMS, if gateways, and text editors. And this one, the TinyMC editor, obviously was the one that I installed manually. So that's the plugins admin portal, very extensive and obviously very important to look at whenever we have our own Moodle up and running, especially because those plugins will mean that we will be able to do certain things when we are customizing the course. Thank you for your attention and apologies for this longer video.